Welcome back to our show. We're sitting here with Drew Schaefer. He's a senior at Warwick High School. Drew is a photography student. Drew, let's do some shots.
All right.
We're going to talk about some of your photos. So as listeners, what we're going to do is invite you to tune into the website, www.devinshots.com. Reminder, you spell Devin with an I, DEVINSHOTS, devinshots.com. When it pulls up, you'll see on the screen there, Get Shot. So just click on Get Shot. And at the top, there's a navigation bar. Click on the WTBQ. That brings you to today's show. If you click on today's show, here we are. You'll see a link for today's co-host. And if we click on that, we'll see a couple of Drew's photographs. Drew, I have to tell you, this first image with the peppers, that's a beautiful shot. I love it. Tell me what you like about that photo.
I like how balanced it is, and I also like the fact that it is a macro shot. I'm really a fan of that. So, I mean, I feel like the colors are very vibrant. It just kind of jumps out at you, and then the fact that the background's all black, it makes everything stand out. It's very crisp.
Yeah, I like how your, I guess the platter, what did you put tinfoil on that? How did you get that reflective?
It was actually just a glossy white plate that I put them on, and I had a flash, so in the end, everything ended up shining.
Good. Here's a question for you. Where was the flash positioned?
It was positioned a little bit above it, kind of going straight over it, / down a little bit.
Was it attached to the camera, or did you have the flash separate from the camera?
Yeah, it was on that camera.
Great. I love it. That's a good, strong image. When people critique photographs, a lot of times it's very subjective. You know, so when people look at your photos and tell you what they think about it, you'll get a million different perspectives, you know. My perspective on this is I love the composition, I love the bright, vibrant colors on it. That picture, when you sent it to me, really got my attention. In my opinion, the only thing I would do different in that photograph is I would switch the red and the yellow pepper. Just because you'll have of the contrast difference. If you have the darkest one in the middle and the lighter shades on either side, in my opinion, it would be a little bit more of a balanced, strong composition. But that's just my opinion. I asked you if I could critique him, and you said yes, so you got it.
Yeah.
But I just absolutely love that image. It's a great macro shot. Now here's the next one. You call this one Glass. Tell us about that photo, Drew.
Well, it was for a similar project I was doing, just more macro shots of things related to food. I found this martini glass. I really like this. I was like trying to find a unique angle to shoot at it, and I finally got this one. I liked it because the light is shining through it, and you get the reflections on the stainless steel countertop that I had.
Yeah, that's nice. Now, was the light in a different direction this time?
It was the same thing, but rather than a flash, actually, in this one, I had just overhead lights on.
Oh, okay. So this was natural light. You didn't use a flash at all.
Yeah.
So you had to set your camera differently to expose this one. Is that the case?
Mm-hmm. I had to set it so the shutter speed was open a lot longer. I decided I had to take a couple shots of it because the majority of them were blurry.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Did you use a tripod?
I eventually had to. That's what I come to resort to.
Yeah, that's in low light situations. That's pretty much the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
I personally, at about 1/60th of a second and faster, I can hand hold and get a nice crisp shot. But if I have to shoot lower than 1/60th, I'll usually put it on a tripod or a firm surface. Here's a question that we did not rehearse, but I want to ask you this question. How long have you had these images? How long ago did you make them?
The glass I did a year ago, last year in school, and the peppers I did really recently, a couple months ago.
Okay. So you've been looking at them for a period of time. After studying these images and looking at them, is there anything that you would do differently now than when you shot them originally?
Well, for the glass, I'd probably maybe try a different couple of angles. I like that angle, but you never know. If maybe I adjusted to something else, maybe I could get something better, or try different lighting on them.
Mm-hmm.
The peppers, I feel like I could have maybe found some better peppers. I know the one was a little small, but I mean it added effect to it. But I think I could have balanced it a little better in the end.
Okay, interesting. I know with my own photographs, if I go back and look at some images that I've done in the past, I'll always find things that I could have done differently. And that's part of learning experience. In my opinion, with photography, it's one of those things that you never stop learning. So for me, I like to go back at the older ones, look at them, compare what I did then to what I do now, and invariably I'll pick up things that I can do better. And that's how we grow as photographers. You said that you had a question you wanted to discuss on the show. What is your question?
That's kind of what I've been talking about with my pictures is the angle of the shot. Many times I find it hard to find the correct angle for a shot. Try to include everything, like you were saying with your lesson for this week, that you want to include everything, but at the same time you want it to look nice. You don't want to cut things off and somehow still get everything in the picture. And sometimes I find it really hard to do that. I end up taking like 10, 15 shots of the same thing, just different angles, and eventually get one that I enjoy. So I was wondering if there's a way that you can just tell which angle would be the best usually.
I thought that was an excellent question. And for me, the answer to that question comes in two ways. The first thing that you need to ask yourself is, what is the subject of my photograph? I learned that very early on as a photographer. That's the first question. When you're looking through your viewfinder, ask yourself, what is the subject? So in this case here, you look at this image of the glass. Do you feel that there's a subject to that photo?
Yeah, it's the glass.
It's the glass, but you can't hardly make it out. It's like if you didn't know it was a glass, you'd be saying, well, what is that? Right? Mm-hmm. So that will determine your angle, because, for example, if your subject is a person, right, you're going to be wanting to be considerate of getting the best angle of that person's face. You wouldn't shoot a person down low and show their double chin, for example. You'd shoot a little higher and hide that. So for a person, your use of angles would be finding the most flattering perspective of that subject. If your subject is more abstract, like you have here with the glass, well then your next question is, well, what do I want to show? Do I want to show shadow? Do I want to show intersecting lines? Do I want to show patterns? What is it that I want to show with this? And again, then your positioning of the camera will help you to find that sweet spot, so to speak. So the way you find angles, really, honestly, is by taking a whole lot of pictures. And you go back over them and you say, okay, this is the one that works. What makes it work? When you find the one that you like, ask yourself, well, what is it about this one that works? And then you duplicate that. So 2 points. What is the subject? And use your angles to flatter your subject if it's alive, if it's a person or a pet. Or use the subject to accentuate an aspect of it, the lines, the patterns, the shadows, whatever it is. And then number 2, take a lot of pictures and study them. Figure out which one is the best and examine why you like that the best. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. We're going to take another short break, and we'll come back and do some more shots.